Buying your first rental property can seem overwhelming, and I get it. I've been in your shoe and I can relate to your current situation right now. Hi guys, if you're meeting me for the first time, my name is Wale Lawal. I'm a real estate investor and a real estate agent in Houston, Texas, and I've helped over 400 people to actually become a landlord. So if that's someone like you, I would like to connect with you. In this video, I cover everything you need to know about buying your first rental property, from actually making your decision, from the financing, from the closing the deal, from finding a tenant, and even screening a real estate investor agent you're going to be working with. So you want to stick around till the end because I drop a lot of gems that you do not want to miss. Also, in this video, I'll be sharing some of my personal experience as a real estate investor myself, and as somebody that has worked with over 400 new investors just like you, so you can learn from my experience and from the experience of those that have actually helped to become a landlord. So the first step is actually to define your why. Why do you want to invest in a rental property? Is it because of the cash flow? Are you looking to take the tax advantage of our real estate investing? Are you looking to diversify your portfolio? Do you like to be a landlord? Do you just like to have a tangible asset that you can actually touch and feel? Or do you want to enjoy the appreciation that real estate has to offer on the long run? You really need to clearly define why do you want to become a rental property landlord, because if you are not clear with your why, you will just be wasting your time and you will not achieve any results. Once you clearly define your why, number two is you have to prepare financially, what we call financial assessment. You have to assess your financial situation. What is your credit score? What is your debt to income ratio? That is your DTI. 40% or less, you'll be fine. Also, what is your long-term goal for this property you're trying to buy? And also, can you even afford it? Those are all the financial situations you have to think about. Now, talking about the financial situation, you also have to budget for the property you're trying to buy. Typically, if you are not going to be living in the property, that is, you are not buying it as a owner occupier, the lender will 9 out of 10 times expect you to put 20% or more down payment. So you have to plan that you have that money. And in addition to that, you must have some 3 to 6 month emergency reserve, or we call it emergency funds, that you can use should anything happen to your property while you owning the property. Step 3, which is one of the most important steps you don't want to miss, is to define your crystal clear criteria. What are your crystal clear criteria, or sometimes what I call a buy box? What is not a deal to you? You have to clearly define that, again, because if you don't define it, everything will just look like a deal to you, and I don't want you to be that kind of person. So I'll walk you through my 6 major steps I typically look for when I'm looking to buy a property, and one of them is the location. Where do I want to buy the property? Are you going to be buying in your zip code? Are you going to be buying in your backyard? Are you going to be buying in your city, within your city limit? Are you going to be buying within your county? Are you going to be buying within the states? Or are you going to be buying out of state? You have to really define that. And once you define that, you have to start doing some market research. Now, the number 2 is you have to actually pick your strategy. What strategy do you want to implement? Are you going to be investing for cash flow? Are you going to be investing for appreciation? Are you going to be investing for a combination of both? You kind of have to know what is your strategy. Now, the third one on the crystal clear criteria is the property type. Are you going to be buying a single family home, that is a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom single family home? Are you going to be buying a duplex? Are you buying a triplex? Are you buying a 4-plex? Or you want to buy a small multi-family, which is 5 to 30 units, which is what we call a mid-size unit, 5 to 30 unit? Or you want to buy a large multi-family, which is 30 unit and above? You have to kind of define what kind of property am I going to be buying. Number 4 on the crystal clear criteria is the property condition. Are you going to be buying a new construction, which is 2024, 2025 builds? Those are considered new construction. Are you going to be buying a 2010, which is, maybe relatively new? Or you're going to be buying something that was built in 1940, 1950s, but they have been recently renovated and they're in a rent-ready condition? Or you think you have some risk your risk appetite is high, you can take on risk, are you going to be buying a distressed property? Side note, I do not recommend buying a distressed property for somebody that has never, buy a rental property before. If this is your first time, I do recommend lean towards something 2020 or newer, because that will reduce your maintenance and will really reduce your headache, and that will give you the energy and the momentum you need to continue to invest in real estate. The next one is the price. What kind of price point do you want to buy? So I'm talking about those 6 crystal clear criteria, right? What is the price point? Are you going to be buying a property of $300, $500, $1 million? What is your buying power? The last one, number 6 on my crystal clear criteria, is the profitability. How profitable do you want your property to be? Are you looking for $200 every month? Are you looking for $300? Are you looking for $100? Typically, we like to use cash on cash. That is cash on your cash return. That is, if you put $100,000 as a down payment, what is the percentage of the return you are getting on your $100,000? So let's say we're looking for 10% cash on cash. So you put $100,000 into the property as a down payment. Now you are getting 10% back. That is, you are getting $1,000 every single month from your $100,000 down payment. So that could be something to think about. But in all reality, anything from 7.5% and above or 7% and above as a cash on cash is a win for a lot of savvy investors, and that's what you should be shooting for, especially if the property is new and is in a clean condition, in a great location that everybody want to buy. As a matter of fact, sometimes I even take 4-5% cash on cash, because I know that this is a less headache property for me, and when I own the property, I really don't think about it. I know it's going to be on autopilot, and I don't have to worry about managing the property or dealing with maintenance, because it's a new construction. Now, talking about the steps in buying your property, step number 4 is you have to hire a Rockstar investor-friendly agent. And to advise you on this, I have an acronym called On Fire agent. That is ONFIR. O means the agent should be organized. N means they should be well networked. That is, they should know other real estate professional like a lender, inspector, appraisal, insurance agent, property managers, real estate attorneys, real estate CPAs. They should know all these people so they can easily recommend them to someone like you to make your investment journey easier. The F is they should focus on you as the buyer or as the investor, and they should also keep you focused, because it's a two things. Sometimes they focus on you, but they are not keeping you focused, which takes me to the next one, which is the high. They should be an investor themselves. They should own some rental properties that they are trying to help you to buy, because let's face it, if they don't own a rental property, how can they help you to buy your rental property? If they have not walked the path, how can they walk you through the path? So you kind of get what I'm saying, right? So always make sure they are investor themselves, or they have an investment property, so they can advise you from their own experience, from the experience of the people they have worked with, from ugly situations they've seen, from the success story they've seen. So that way you are really working with somebody that know what they're talking about. And the R is the responsiveness. They have to be responsive, right? The agent is of no good to you if they are very good, they know what they're doing, but you call them, they couldn't answer your call. You text them, no response. You ask for information, you are getting it 3-4 days later. That is not a good fit. And the last one is the E, which is experience. You want to make sure they have done this over and over and over and over again. That is to help someone like you will be so easy for them that they don't even have to stress about it. So please make sure you look for on fire agent before you commit to working with that investor agent or that agent in general, because if you don't, you will just be working with a regular agent that does not know anything about investing, that does not know how to analyze property, that does not know how to even advise you to make smart investment decisions. Step number 5 is secure a financing. You have to secure financing. As I've already mentioned above, if you're buying a rental property, you do need some down payment. You do need some money to buy rental property. So if you're buying a $1 million property, you will not be living there, that is, you are not doing house hacking, you will need to put at least 20% down. So 20% of $1 million I believe it's going to be $200,000, right? So that $200,000, you have to make sure you have that in your bank account. Now, if you don't have a $200,000 in your bank account, then reduce your purchase price to maybe $500,000. So what is 20% of $500,000 is going to be $100,000. If you don't have $100,000, then reduce the purchase price to maybe $250,000. That $250,000 right now, that means you need $50,000 as a down payment. If you don't have that, you can continue to reduce it until you're able to find a sweet spot that fits what you have. Now, you can use a lot of financing options. You can use FHA, you can use VA loan, you can use your conventional loan 5%, conventional loan 3%, conventional loan 20%, which is very common for real estate investment. You can do some DSCR loan. You can even use your HELOC, get some money out of your current home if you currently own a house and use it as a down payment to buy that your investment property. Or you can do some creative financing like seller financing, like some element of subject to, among other strategies you can use to finance properties. Now, I will recommend, if you're starting for the first property, get a conventional loan and make your life easier before you start messing with the complicated strategies. Or if you are starting for the first time and you do not have a property yet, it might be a wise decision for you to house hack. You buy a duplex, you live on one side and you rent out the other side. Or you buy a fourplex, you live on one side, you rent out the other three sides. Now, you can do this with a conventional loan of 3 to 5% down. You can do it with FHA 0 to 3.5% down. These are the strategies and financing options I've helped people to implement. So if you want to get my lender recommendation, comment the word lender and I will shoot you the recommendation. So the step 6 is now you have to start searching for that property. How do you find that property? You can find the property through your number one source, which is your real estate investor friendly agent. They do this multiple times. They do this for a living, like what I do for a living. I know where to find a deal. I know what is a deal, and that agent should easily be able to send that to you or recommend you to, hey, go buy this or look at this one. From there, if you think, okay, maybe you want to supplement your agent's efforts, you can also network with some wholesalers. Now, I will warn you carefully here, if this is your first time again, you really need that guide, that fiduciary duty from that real estate agent to guide you through the steps so you don't make a mistake or lose money or lose some sleep. So I will not recommend you buy from a wholesaler if it's your first time, because wholesalers do not watch out for your interests. They watch out for their own interests. They have zero fiduciary duty to you. They have zero responsibility, financial responsibility to you. They have 100% financial responsibility to themselves because they have to watch out for their pockets. Real estate wholesalers are entrepreneurs. They are not really real estate investors. I do not have anything against wholesalers. I'm just letting you know to be very careful if you're going to be finding a deal through a wholesaler. And if you still want to do that, you can get a deal through a wholesaler, but make sure you run it with your real estate investor agent to make sure that they help you cross-check the numbers, the ARV, the renovation costs, among other things. Bring them in as part of your due diligence pretty much. So that way you know that you are not making any mistake, because your investor agent that has done it many, many times has okayed the deal for you. Then you know you can proceed with confidence. Now, you can also use all these online listing platforms like your har.com. You can use Zillow, you can use realtor.com, you can use Redfin. You can use other property listing websites where you can find decent deal. You can even, join your local Facebook groups and see who is sharing a deal, but make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you have somebody behind you that you can always bounce that deal off, because if you don't do that, again, you're doing this for the first time or you have not done this long enough, there is a high probability that you're going to be making mistake. You might be overpaying for the property. You might be missing some important details that you should have seen. The step number 7 is pick a property and analyze the property. If you're getting started, you need to analyze so many properties for you to get comfortable analyzing deal. And once you do this like 5-7 times or even 10 times, you will start noticing some pattern, or you will easily know what is a deal and what is not a deal. You will even know that if this property even worth me even pulling up my Excel spreadsheet to analyze it or not, because you will have start getting, some experience in analyzing property. Now, a quick tip here is to have your real estate investor friendly agent to send you a renter comparables of what it's going to rent for, and also send you a sales comparable of what the property is truly worth, because you do not want to overpay for any property. You make money when you buy the property, not when you sell. So don't forget about that. Another quick tip I will give you is to buy a new construction or a property that is relatively new. Again, I like 2010 or newer, because the older the property, you're going to be spending money on maintenance. You will deal with tenant issue almost every month if you have a low quality property or property that is really old, and things will start breaking on you and you start having headache, and you're going to think that real estate investing or rental property landlording doesn't really worth it. So please, I don't want you to make that mistake. Look for something relatively new, at least for your first one. From the second one, you can start messing with something that needs some work. Step number 8 is to actually submit an offer and get your offer to be accepted. Now, if you are working with an investor friendly agent, again, this is their job. They're going to be submitting offer for you. You both will have analyzed the property, will have discussed the property, and your investor agent should actually be telling you if this is a deal for them or this is not a deal for them. Because I tell my people all the time that, hey, if I cannot buy that property for myself, knowing what I know, knowing all the mistakes I've made, seeing all the success and failure of several people I've worked with, and I'm running away from that property, I will tell you not to buy it. I will also tell you to run away, because I believe I owe you the further fiduciary duty to educate you and to care for you, not to lose your hard-earned money. So that agent should be doing the same thing for you to help you find that property that will work for you long term, that will not give you any headache. Now, don't send a lowball offer. As a Rockstar investor agent like me, we typically will not send a lowball offer. Instead, we'll carefully analyze the property, talk to the other agent on the other side, that is the seller agent, and make sure we kind of find out what are they looking for, what is their pain point, why do they have to sell the property, what is the price area they want to be. If we think we cannot be close to what they are looking for, we probably will not even submit an offer in the first place, or maybe make a phone call and just submit a verbal offer and see how they take it. But we typically don't submit a lowball offer, because this is going to ruin your reputation very quickly, and you just be wasting your time, wasting your realtor's time, and you will get nowhere. So step number 9 is, after your offer is accepted, congratulations. This is where the rental property purchase actually starts. This is where you're going to be doing your own due diligence. You're going to be finalizing your details, your loan details with your lender. You're going to do home inspection, which you have your due diligence is typically 7 days in Texas. It can be negotiated up to 10 days. Your lender is going to be ordering home appraisal. They want to appraise the property. Let's say you're buying that property for $1 million or $800,000, for example. They want to make sure it appraised for at least the purchase price or more. If you appraise for less, they will be asking you to come out of pocket with the difference. Let's say you're buying this property, you have this property under contract for $800,000, but you only appraised for $790,000. That means you are short of what? $10,000. Now, the lender will not lend you $800,000. They will be lending you money based off $790,000. So what does that mean to you? You have to come out of pocket with that $10,000 gap. We call it appraiser gap. Or your investor agent, like I said, will go back to the seller agent and negotiate for you to make the seller reduce the price from $800,000 to $790,000 that is appraised for. So that way you do not have to come out of pocket with any dollar out of your pocket. The thing we actually want is to have the property, you have it under contract for $800,000 to appraise for $820, $830, $840. This is what we call, you just have an instant equity. Once you close, congratulations, you just have about $20, $30, $40,000 instant equity in your property from day one, which you can use later in the future to buy more rental properties. You also want to get familiar with the rental property local laws and regulations, or rules and regulations. If they have HOA, you want to make sure they allow Airbnb, they allow short-term rental. If they don't have HOA, you don't have to worry about that. You also want to make sure you are very comfortable with the property. If you're not comfortable during your due diligence period with the property, I will recommend you terminate the contract contract and move on to something else, or you just don't like the purchase, or you found something that just, was not just normal to you, you can terminate the contract and move on to the next one. The misconception people always have is that once you put a property under contract, you have to close on that property. No, you do not have to close. There is a lot of contingency we typically build into the contract once we are submitting contract, for you. So make sure that you are aware of those contingency, how you can back out. The biggest one is that during that your 7 days option period, you can terminate the contract for any reason. The second one is the appraisal. The third one is maybe they didn't disclose something. We call it material fact that was not disclosed to you at the beginning. Now you found out during your due diligence period, you can terminate the contract, move on to the next one. All right, this takes me to my number 10. So if everything looks good and you have already done all this due diligence and you made it to the closing table, that's what is the next thing. So you're going to now be preparing for closing, which is my number 10. Now this is where your lender will have locked in your rates. They will finalize all the loan details. Everything will be clear to you. Your inspector will also communicate anything to you. You're also going to be doing a final walkthrough, which is where you go back to the property and make sure that nothing has changed since you have it under contract up to the day you're about to close. We typically do final walkthrough a day or 2 days before the closing day, so that way we make sure, hey, we are closing tomorrow, everything is still good as at yesterday, so that way no surprises. If anything changes, again, is another reason to terminate. Like, hey, I put this property under contract, the roof was not leaking, now there is a weather condition that affected the roof, now the roof is leaking. What are we going to do? Are you going to fix it, give us money to fix it ourselves, or you're going to walk away? So you have a lot of options when it comes to when you're buying property. Now, closing date is when you're going to be finalizing all the details. You're going to go to the title company, you will sign the loan document, and that's when you'll be getting the key to your single family, your duplex, your triplex, your fourplex, or your large multi-family, as the case may be for you. So now you are now a bona fide rental property landlord or rental property owner. This is where the journey now begins for you. And the first assignment you have to do, which is my number 11, is to decide on property management. How do you want to manage the property? Do you want to self-manage, or you want to hire a property manager? If you want to self-manage, I typically use hemlin.com. Hemlin.com, I'll put it here. You can actually, go sign up. I don't have any affiliation with them. So that's what I've been using for the last 3 years. Very simple for me. Now, if you don't want to self-manage, you can hire a property manager. And again, you're going to try to look for property manager that check the criteria that you screen your real estate investor agent through. That is, they work with a lot of landlords, they own property themselves, they've been in business for as long as possible. At least I look for nothing less than 3 years, and they are very responsive as well. Again, all those kind of things that you went through with your realtor, make sure you kind of run them through that as well. I typically will hire the property manager once we are actually get to the due diligence stage. That's my step number 9, to make sure that, hey, I need you to be involved in this property. I'm about to close in 3 weeks' time. Are you sure you are comfortable managing this property? Will you buy this property yourself? If they say they will not buy it, I would say don't buy it as well, because they know what you don't know. Now, if you want to hire a property manager, I can also recommend you to my property managers, and you can interview them, see if it's a good fit for you. If you want to get that recommendation, comment the word manager in the comment section, and I will connect you with my PM, and you guys can take it from there. I hope you find value here. If I have a PDF guide for you, if you want to get that PDF, make sure you are subscribed to this channel and comment the word rental, and I will send it to you. And I hope you find value here. Like I said, this is the ultimate video you need to become a landlord. If you have been thinking about it for so long, you have just been stuck, you've been dealing with the wrong people, or you just don't know what to do, I hope this video will actually help you get started to become a landlord. And I hope you don't stop on your number 1. You can go for your number 2, number 3, number 4, and you start buying some larger multifamily. And if you want to connect with me, you can look me up on Instagram at Wale_Lawal here, and I would love to chat with you. Now, if you want to learn how to analyze rental property and make sure that you are making a smart investment decision, you can also comment the word calc, and I will send it to you, or you can watch this next video here that I walk you through how to analyze rental property. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.